Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Beautiful sunny day. Well, it's Sunday, but there's not much sun today. Anyway, please join me in the videos coming up. We're going to talk about how a water bottle, how a insulated jacket, a waterproof bag, and amongst other things, along with a flashlight, a headlamp, could possibly save your life if you find yourself lost or in trouble in the outdoors. Be right back with you. Welcome back, everybody. Listen, I hit the camera. Welcome back. I want you to know, first of all, that when I make my videos, they're unscripted. And that should be obvious to everybody. If I stutter along, I paddle along. Anyway, so it's not always, always neat and clean. But what I try to do is do it all in one take. And what you see usually as a result with errors, this kind of stuff. But also when it comes to subject matter that I talk about, I don't study up on it. I don't go back and go through 15 YouTube channels to get my story right, this kind of stuff. What I do is I'm using my experience, my lifetime to try to pass on to you what I know from my own experiences, from what I know from my own life. Okay, some of you know that I'm from a farming community in central Louisiana. I grew up on the farm in the woods, hunting and fishing. I grew up, we weren't wealthy. We weren't barely middle class. There was parts of our life where we grew up where we were getting state-funded generic cheeses and bread, just kind of like that. Even food stamps for a while in the 80s. It was tough. But you know what? We pulled through. We made it through, and we're still doing it today. I also spent 10 years in the Army, U.S. Army, where I served in deployments. I served in the combat arms, and I'll go from there. I tell little stories about it, but I don't go too far in what necessarily all the units I served in and what I did. But anyway, and then of course 27 years of on top of all of that, I also have 27 years out of the military where I've been teaching everything from combat shooting to combat techniques to outdoor survival, bushcraft. I even volunteered for about 11 years working with the Boy Scouts of America and that community here in Europe. And I loved every minute of it. And I've also sold a lot of equipment and worked with different non-government organizations like in UNHCR, setting up, helping set up their teams, their rapid teams that go out to different countries when there's an emergency, this kind of stuff, from their go bags to their long-term equipment, this kind of stuff, and with huge budgets, but also work with people with very low budgets and help them out also, and people with no budgets. Anyway, I've got a lot of experience on all these kind of things. I'm trying to bring that over to you in my videos, okay? So I want to thank you all for coming to my videos, and thank you all for, now we have 401 subscribers on my channel. I want to thank every one of you as of now. And like I've talked to you before, I'm really surprised by all of it, but I want to thank you. And I ask you to please continue subscribing to my channel, sharing my channel with your friends and enemy, liking it, and leaving comments below. But we're going to get right back with that in just a minute. Anyway, first I want to talk to you about, let's say, when I go out into the wild, I always carry some form of communication. When I'm talking about communication, I'm not talking about just a radio or a telephone. I'm talking about light sources, color sources, the ability to smoke, this kind of stuff. These are all communication, because if you get yourself into a situation where you are lost or you are injured or you are in a situation to where, let's say, your vehicle is down or whatever, you need to be able to get your position out there. Now, we're going to talk about a few scenarios, and then first we're going to talk about if you are traveling 4x4, which a lot of people do now today. This is not a new thing. A lot of people think that only since the last 20 years, this has become, Overland Journeys become a new thing. This has been happening for a long time, okay? We've been traveling, especially here in Europe And a lot of parts of the United States, in Australia, a lot of people have been traveling 4x4 cross country. And there are lots of proof of that out there, living in the outdoors, living out of their vehicles, living out of what they have. Some people actually do this 24/7, 365 all their life. Okay. So just because you're seeing channels that are now pushing this, these are guys who served in the military in Iraq and Afghanistan doing this. This has been happening long before they existed. I promise you. The military has been very mobile, and guys have been doing this. Okay, so it's not nothing new. It's just that we have a lot more equipment now, and we had a lot back then. We just have it more now, and more comfort levels. So don't allow these new guys who are coming into the picture, proclaiming that they know it all, see it all, and have done it all, to let you know that they haven't. Okay, this is old news. And those of us who've been doing this for a long time, four-wheeling, living outdoors, living expeditionary journeys, kind of stuff like that, have been doing it for a long time. Okay, and we've been doing it for a long time. The road trip is nothing new. It's just it's just whether you have a road or not. Okay, or people traveling across. There are lots of Europeans who travel all across Africa, across Europe, across Asia. This has been happening. The Australians have been doing it like forever. There are lots of well-known YouTube channels out there. You can find people who've been doing this in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, and in Australia. It's nothing new here. Okay, and I follow some of these channels myself because I find them interesting. I find them I find what they're seeing interesting and how they're able to tell their stories. So it's nothing new here. Okay, I have a four-wheel drive myself, and I set it up to go on trips, this kind of like that. I've had the Land Rover Defender I had one of those for 12 years. I had a Nissan Patrol GR3 for 5 years before I got the Land Rover, and then before that, I had whatever car I had. I had a Isuzu Trooper too. My former wife and I used to use traveling around in the United States and doing the same thing. So just that instead of having a camper top, we pulled out a tent or we slept in the vehicle. And that's the difference, okay? But anyway, get back to our subject here. We're going to talk about you're on a road trip in the middle of nowhere and your vehicle breaks down. The first thing I can tell you right now is that if you don't have some sort of communication with that vehicle, then you need to, and the vehicle's, then you're already in trouble. You need to have your vehicle set up for road trips, this kind of stuff, with lights, reflective panels, some kind of maybe even solar system that can help you to recharge your batteries, your telephone, this kind of stuff, and you can try to call your way out of it. Now, if you're somewhere where there's no cell phone coverage, then if you haven't prepared maybe a GPS phone or something like that before, or satellite phone before then you're also setting yourself up for trouble. But I understand people don't do that. They do more of the old school stuff, and they have a lot more wisdom and confidence in their abilities, and then there's nothing wrong with that. But let's say you're in the middle of nowhere, you're days away from, you're 2-day drive away from any kind of civilization, and which means if you think about it, that's a lot further away than you can walk, okay? And we could probably walk around 20, 25 miles a day if we're pushed, okay? And you'd be lucky if you're not in any kind of shape, you can do that. But anyway, the first thing you do is if your vehicle is not in a dangerous location, stay with your vehicle, okay? Just stay with it, all right? That's where all your kit's at, and that's where everything's at, and it's a much bigger a surface object to see from the sky and this kind of stuff, okay? And also, it's a place of refuge. You can sleep in it. You can get into it. Now, if your vehicle's, is you're not in a safe place, then get away from it. Okay, get to a safe place, higher ground, but not on top of something, because you want to stay below the crest because lightning and this kind of stuff like that, or storms, whatever. But find yourself a place that you can have proper shelter in if your vehicle or whatever you're riding in is not safe to stay in. Okay, so that's the first one, okay? Camping on the trail, okay? You're hiking and camping, same situation. We don't always like to run around with all this technology on us, but, whether we have it or not, some people have boosters for their telephones. Some people have, who have cell phone towers around them that can always catch a bar or something like that. Or you have a radio system or satellite phone, that's fine. Okay, but let's say you go out there and you really want to get away from all that. You leave your phone behind. You're not taking any kind of technology with you. Perfectly great. I suggest you do it, okay? But that's a scenario number 2, okay? and you get into a situation where you either find somebody who's injured on the trail, or you get injured on the trail, or you get completely lost, okay? The best way, just to go back to that, the best way to stay found, to not get lost, is to stay found. That means you have a good map and compass on you, good skills, you work on them, and you carry those out there with you, and you always work to know where you're at. Constantly checking your map, constantly checking your azimuth, and checking your position, okay? There are lots of ways of doing that, and I have videos talking about that, and there are lots of videos out there on YouTube also talking about that. So that's the two scenarios that I can think of. There could be a third one. It might come to my brain. We'll see. Like I said, this is unscripted. You're out there though, and you need to signal. Okay, before you leave to go on any kind of trip, you need to leave instructions with people behind you that if you haven't contacted them in a certain amount of time, whatever, that you're in trouble. Okay, and they at least try to contact you. If not, then they can contact local authorities. Okay. If you go into a trail system in a national forest, you do the same thing. You alert the park ranger or the local village town sheriff's office like that. So listen, I'm going to go hiking on this trail right here. It's a 3-day loop. Everybody knows about it. But if you could, and some towns have this prepared to have have books that they have your names on them. The Appalachian Trail, you sign your name along the way. You sign into the trail basically, and pick up a nickname on the way. Okay, and so this happens along the Pacific Coast Trail, the Continental Divide Trail. Across Hungary, they have one. Okay, they have a really nice trail there, which travels across the northern part of Hungary and central Hungary. Here in Europe, we have a lot of them. Here in Switzerland, we have the Jurassic Crest Trail, the Jura Crest Trail, which is a trail traveling along the Jura Mountains from Zurich all the way down to Switzerland to Sancerre, and then down into the Nil, actually. And this is a 20-day trail hike, Anyway, something was to happen, and that's the first thing you can do is do this preparation beforehand, okay? But let's say you get hurt or something like that, and you need to signal where you're at. They're looking for you. You know they're looking for you, or they're potentially looking for you, and you need to signal your position. Well, guess what? We're going to talk about that today, okay? We're going to talk about that using some basic items that you can carry on you, or you may already have on you, you can use to signal a potential aircraft or potential hikers or campers from a distance, okay? Number one thing is understand and know that there are visual and there are sound signals you can do. A sound signal you can do is the 3 signal bursts either with a whistle or with clapping or sticks. You and then pause, and then go back again, and then a pause. With a whistle, which I carry a whistle on me, it's the same way. It's 3 hard bursts, and then a pause, okay? With a flashlight, the same way. 3 flashes, and then a pause, and then go back to it. You keep doing this. 1, 2, 3, a pause. 1, 2, 3, a pause, okay? If you need to practice this, clap your hands and get your kids involved if you have them, okay? That's already one form of signal, and that's using noise, okay? And it's very important. Now, let's say you're not able to do that, okay? Or you are able to do it, but you need to pinpoint your location, show them your location. Well, there are lots of ways of doing that, and we're going to show you those visual, okay? We already know sound, okay? And now we're going to talk about visual, okay? So sound could also be just screaming, but I don't suggest you scream, okay? It's like if you're being attacked by someone in the city, don't yell, "I'm being attacked." You yell, "Fire," okay? People more alert to this. Oh, there's a fire that could affect me. But if you're out there getting the heck beat out of you, they're more likely to film it than you are anything else. You want to get them involved to try to protect you, open a door for you, help you, okay? So we're going to show you some items that maybe you have and you don't even realize it. And maybe you don't have and you need to realize it, okay? One of them is I carry something in orange, bright orange, okay? Now, this is an orange T-shirt, okay? This happens to be from Under Armour, okay? You can see the Under Armour thing there, I like Under Armour, but this is a very bright orange shirt. You can wear this right here, while you're out and about. So guess what? I may wear it under a shirt, okay, if it's a little cooler out, and then this helps wick away the sweat and stuff, but I can also pull it off and have it on me, or put it over something, or put it on a limb or something like that, or spread it out on the ground or my tent or whatever, you know, to show where I'm at, okay? So this is one item right here, a bright orange t-shirt, okay? This is a company called Real, and they make food. Guess what? That's an orange container, okay? Inside of it is very silver, so it's very reflective. So you can actually, when you cut it open, you use it, hang on to it. You can tear it open, roll it inside out, and you can have some reflection to reflect light back at. And if you're reflecting light with a mirror or a flashlight or with something to reflect, it's also 3. 1, 2, 3, and wait. 1, 2, 3, and wait. Okay, so that's another technique, okay? But you also have the orange, and you can sit there and, you know, flash it around, okay? So I've seen people with actually just big orange balloons they carry on them, and you just air them up real quick, and you can also use that. But that rubber deteriorates after a while, okay? So be careful of that. Another thing I have, and I've had for a long time, and this is the U.S. Army or U.S. Air Force Survival Silk Scarf, actually. And man, this thing right here is pretty big and extremely light. You can even wear it around your neck, you know, if you need to, okay? So there you go. You have this silk scarf. Makes a really good item. You can actually tie this around your backpack while you're hiking, you know, if you're lost, whatever, and you say, you know what, I'm going to try to make it out. But if you do, let's go back to something else, your scenario. You find someone who's hurt, or you're hurt, okay? If you're by yourself, you're going to have to sit and wait, okay? If you're with somebody who's hurt, you need to stay with them unless you're close enough to get to somewhere. I suggest you stay with them and try doing it that way, or getting them out, carrying them out if you can. But if you're a team of 3 or 4, okay, traveling in 3s or 4s are better. And the reason why is because it's better if you travel in 2s, okay? So you have 2 people who go out to find safety, and 1 person stays with the victim or with the person who's injured, okay? So that's something else to be aware of, okay? You can also pick up very inexpensively these handkerchiefs, these survival handkerchiefs. And this one's called a Bandana survival handkerchief, which I've had for a long time. And it even has stuff to talk to you. It can explain to you knots. It explains to you how to get water, how to tell time and direction, the Big Dipper. All this stuff is in there, okay? So this is another possibility, and it makes a really good signal object. Now this orange stands out from nature. So unless you're in Louisiana and where the dirt is orange already, this may not work. But anyway, you might have to go to something different. But neon colors work really well, whereas purple or yellow or orange, they work really, really well. I also have some of these waterproof bags, and this right here, Sea to Summit makes right here. And besides it being able to protect your items from the water from the outside coming in, you can actually use it to capture water on the inside. And you can use it to signal, okay? Signal somebody. So that's something else. All right. I also have a bigger one. This is a 35-liter one right here. And this is from Helicon Tex. And the same thing, okay? It does all the same things. Now, this winter, I was gifted a really nice gift from a buddy of mine. Thank you, Quentin. And it's a down jacket from a company called Jack Wolfskin, and it's beautiful green color on the outside. It's a 2-tone green color, but the inside of it is that. You know, remember the old MA1 flight jackets from the Air Force, or nylon or whatever on the outside? The inside are yellow or bright orange, you know, the same thing. You can turn this thing out inside out, okay, and you can wear it, or you can signal with it like it's right here, and it has a bright orange. Actually, you can actually wear this one out here inside out too. It's really made up very well. So if you really need to, you can do it. So these are some of the items that you can carry on you that are quickly accessible, that you can use, okay? You know, waterproof bags, this kind of like that you can use for when it comes to signaling, okay? Another item which we all carry on, or should be carrying on you, and that is a flashlight, okay? So flashlight, you can signal directly, you know, 1, 2, 3, and cat hold, and then 1, 2, and some of these have, has a strobe on it, and that is pretty good too. All right, so this right here is the Petzl Tatika Plus, and it has a strobe built into it. Now, of course, you have the ones that are military, the red light, this kind of stuff. I don't suggest a red light in the daytime or at night because it's not going to travel as far as a bright light, okay? Green lights are picked up by the eye very quickly also, but this right here, I've had this right here forever, for a long, long time, and it's my go-to light. I have it with me all the time. I think I have 3 of these things. I like them so much, and this is the one that I keep on me in my Possibles bag, so I use it quite often, and it's always ready. But let's say you want to make a bigger light, okay? Well, guess what? Let's say a regular bottle right here. And if you give me a second here, I'm going to demonstrate a couple of bottles and how they can be used as a signal light. I tell you what, this thing, I can never put it on pause. So 1 second here. Told you it's not good. We do have some light coming. I can't completely seal off this room right here. I'd have to go into my bathroom, which is the only room that doesn't have a light in it, which is a terrible thing also. But what you do is you take your water bottle, okay? Now, you can do this with 2 different objects. You can use it with a chem light, okay? Or you can do it with your flashlight, and you can put it on the bottom, and look at that, it glows, okay? And this is something else you can use to get that some light in there. We can also use our Nalgene bottle here. It does the same thing, okay? All right, it makes a bigger light source. And this is the one that glows in the dark right here. Now, I don't have any light in it, but you can actually charge this thing, and it can glows in the dark. And look, you can see where it's actually glowing right here on it, you know, where I'm charging the outside. This is one that has it charges actually. Another thing, like I said, you can do is you can stick a chem light in there, and that works pretty good too. So let me get the lights back on. Be right back with you. And so these are just a few items you can use, you know, to keep yourself keep yourself protected, and I say protected, help you to signal to get yourself out of a bad situation, okay? Now, of course, there are signal flares you can carry, and I have a pin flare that I can use, so when I see something coming, I have a mirror on me, and you have a mirror in your compass, okay? You can signal with it right here, with that also, and you just make very, very good reflective. But if you have an overcast sky, you don't have that kind of light. You can also use your flashlight with your mirror, which will intensify it also. And these are other things you can do, but you know, use the items that you have on you. I always carry the 10 essentials on me. So and in the 10 essentials is a flashlight and my compass. So it's a mirror and a flashlight there with me, and spare batteries for my flashlight. And then within it also I have a neckerchief. And the neckerchief I carry something like what you have here, you know, my silk scarf, which is very lightweight. It goes inside my bag. It's very compact, works fantastic. So these are some of the items I carry with me and work very, very well. So if I find myself in a situation where I need a light or something to signal for that visual communication, I have it, okay? And, you know, a smoke, another thing right here we're going to add to all this right here, and that is a fire, okay? If you can build one, all right? If it's wet, you might have a much more difficult time, or if you're in somewhere where there's not so much a brush or whatever to burn, but you can set yourself something up with it. Get some cover over it so that when you you can set it, it's already, boom, it's lit, and you can get some smoke up there. Something else you can use is something I do. I go around to all the bike stores, and I ask them, okay, what do you do with your inner tubes once, you know, when people return them or you change something? A lot of them, they say, well, we throw them away. I said, well, can I have them? And so I go and pick up, I don't need many, 2, 3 of them. That's good for a lifetime, okay? I can cut them up into longer pieces, okay? And then I tie a knot in one end. I fill the sucker up with like Vaseline and some cotton. And then I tie up the other end. Or I leave them by themselves, doesn't really matter. And with my lighter, I can burn it. And that gives off a black smoke, okay? And that burns for a good amount of time, actually. So you can carry some of these with you. They're very lightweight. And then you can use them. You can use them for fire starting also. Now, of course, it's going to be a much more pungent. It's older, but if you need it in emergency, you have it. But also, you can use it to signal with. So it's a very good signal item to use, actually. And like I said, pin flares and then other flares, automotive flares, this kind of stuff. You can keep them in your car. Just be careful where you keep them at, and check them every once in a while, and be prepared that you can pull them out, you know, and you have this flare you can throw on the ground if you hear like some kind of aircraft, whatever, and they're going to at least check in on you to see what you have there. So there you go. There are probably some more items in my brain I can't think of, but you know, there are lots of ways you can go about all this. And if you have any comments or any ideas, please leave them below in the comment section. I really look forward to reading them and replying to you and adding it to my list of things, okay? And if you learned something new, I really appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. And please, again, subscribe, share my channel, share my videos with your friends and your enemy, and check out my my website, helvetiabushcraft.ch, and it'll be linked down below. And if there's anything you need, let me know. I hope to hear from you again soon. Take care of yourselves. I hope you all have a blessed weekend, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Goodbye.